What is up, guys? It is Jacob from Quad Hunting here, and we are going to be recapping the Money in the Bank pay-per-view that WWE just had, and we're also going to be looking at last night's Raw, because I'm going to do the two together just because I didn't have time to do a Money in the Bank pay-per-view wrap-up yesterday. So, to start off, they in my last video, the Money in the Bank predictions video, I did it before I realized they were adding the Golden Truth versus Febreze, or whatever they want to call that team of Fandango and Tyler Breeze, and then the it was the Dudleys and the Lucha Dragons. I caught the tail end of the Dudleys and the Lucha Dragons, so I'm not going to add anything more on that. They were pretty much just two matches that happened. It wasn't anything special. So, but getting into the matches now, they opened the show off with the tag team match like I thought they would. And they had New Day retaining the tag titles, which I called correctly and I think is the right decision, especially now after you watched Raw last night. With the match itself, it was a little messy, sloppy. There were a lot of botches in the match, a lot of mistakes made. Luke Gallows standing in the ring while Big E is just holding a dude on his shoulders. You could tell it wasn't really supposed to happen. Then you see Big Cass run in and give the big boot, I think it was, to get Gallows down. You could tell it was just kind of offbeat. The timing was just a little off, pretty much the match. Kofi's weird kick that didn't do anything. It was supposed to be a Trouble in Paradise. So New Day win in a kind of sloppy match, but I think it's still the right decision because, like last night on Raw, the Wyatt family returns, and it looks like now it's going to be the Wyatts and the New Day for the tag belts, which is kind of an interesting feud because the Wyatts are the backwoods cult type, and the New Day are just the happy-go-lucky kind of guys that don't really care. So it's an interesting dynamic putting those two teams against each other. I'm intrigued about it. I'm hoping this leads to the Wyatts' first title reign, but at the same time, I'm not sure how I feel about a team of Eric Rowan and Braun Strowman. So it'll be interesting. Wish it was Luke Harper in there instead. But then I don't know the exact match order. It was off of what I thought it was actually going to be. I think they went Corbin and Ziggler next. Corbin won. I think it was too much of a contest. I don't know what they're planning on doing with Ziggler, if they plan on doing anything with Ziggler, but it's nice to see they have plans for Corbin and then last night's Raw, he came out, squashed Zack Ryder in a quick match, so there were no sign of Dolph Ziggler, so I'm guessing the feud's over. I'm hoping the feud's over. I don't want to see them in another match with each other again for a very long time, if at all again. It was a solid match, but it was just kind of boring. There were a lot of boring chants broke out. They were chanting I heard some, we want some Bailey chants. So, just a boring match. The crowd wasn't into it. So, Baron won with the pretty sick-looking End of Days. I love the End of Days. It's one of my favorite finishers. I love his Deep Six also, even though it did get messed up in the match where Baron had to catch Dolph after Dolph stumbled, but it ended up working out. So, then you had Apollo Crews and Sheamus. I was wrong on this one. I did think Sheamus was going to win just to show some kind of character development from Crews, but it looks like this one might continue with how Crews finished, how it was a roll-up finish. It wasn't a definite finish. It was one of those barely wins. So I think that'll be a feud that'll continue, and maybe they find a way to get Crews a little more something to work with, a character, but I like Crews. He is a mix of Bobby Lashley and Neville with the whole... He looks like a total bruiser, brawler, but he's doing shooting star presses and a bunch of other flips. So, I like Crews. I hope they can get him something better to do. So, Crews got the win with the roll-up over Sheamus. And then we went to... Was it the Money... I can't remember the exact order. I'm not going to go in order. I do know Rusev and Titus O'Neil, they went second to last in the dreaded death slot. But it was a match. That's it. I love Rusev. Don't care about Titus O'Neil. So yeah, Rusev retained with the accolade. Titus tapped. I loved the after the match though when Rusev walked over to Titus's kids and was talking trash about Titus, and then proceeded to yell "Happy Father's Day" after that. So Rusev picks up the win, and like I said, I hope he holds on to the U.S. Championship for a long time. He is great with it, and just a great performer overall. Becky Lynch and Natalya faced off against Dana Brooke and Charlotte. I mean, it's a match that had nothing involved with it, so I can't care about it. Yeah, it happened again. Charlotte got the win with the natural selection after Becky was pushed into Natalya. I think, yeah. Becky was pushed into Natalya by Dana, which then helped Charlotte get the win. Charlotte and Dana to get the win. They were tag team. But yeah, the biggest news to come out of that match is Becky and Natalya attacked Becky afterwards, leading into possibly a second women's feud coming up. 2 feuds at once? What? But then you had the Money in the Bank ladder match itself, which was a good match. I didn't get to watch some of it. My network feed was going in and out. I watched pretty much right up until Zayn did the Mishinoshu. I think it's just what it is. Driver on Owens on the ladder, and that spot looked brutal. Dropped right on your ladder is not like normally when they do things on the ladder's like laying down on the ground. It was kind of sitting up, and Owens was dropped back first onto it, after, almost like in a body slam way. But it was a sick looking move. I'm surprised Kevin Owens doesn't have a broken tailbone. Honestly, even with it being WWE and entertainment, that looked like it would physically hurt even the safest workers. But Ambrose ended up winning it, which is, I said it in the first predictions and I changed it. I should have stuck with it, but because I thought Owens was going to win. I thought it was just they were teasing it too much with Ambrose winning it, but Ambrose ended up winning it and then would later on use it. We'll get to that later. One of the matches I was looking forward to the most happened with Cena and Styles. I was really looking forward to this match. I don't think it disappointed. They had a pretty good match. Some people were upset about the ending, but when you look at it, AJ Styles is a heel. He's going against John Cena. Cena does not lose clean often at all. So for AJ to get a win like that, I think is pretty big still, even if the club interfered. So I liked it. I think it was a good booking, actually, for the heel to cheat to win. That's what heels are supposed to do. But Cena ended up losing. Kind of surprised me. I did think Cena was going to win. But they went with the AJ cheating to win, which is not a bad, like I said, it's not a bad booking decision. It gets heat on AJ because he said he's going to do it on his own, ended up not being able to do it on his own. And then they had that Raw segment where AJ made Gallows and Anderson apologize for interfering in the match, and so it looks like that feud's not over with by a long shot. Then the main event was Reigns versus Rollins for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, which I thought probably could be match of the night. Reigns and Rollins can just go with each other. They're great in the ring together. I loved the fact that it wasn't really a finisher spam like a lot of people thought it was going to be. A lot of people thought they were just going to kicking out of 4 spears and 5 pedigrees, and they didn't do that. They were kicking out of the Superman punch and the turnbuckle power bomb. Reigns did kick out of one pedigree, which was cool looking though. It had it happen the way it did. He went to go spear Rollins, and Rollins jumped up and then came down on Reigns for the pedigree. It looked cool. So it was a good match. I really liked it. I enjoyed it. And Rollins won clean, which I did not see coming. But right after Rollins won, Ambrose came out, cashed in the Money in the Bank he had just won, beat Rollins with a Dirty Deeds, and the match didn't even last 10 seconds. Won the championship, and now Ambrose is your championship. All 3 members of the Shield held the championship in one night, which is insane to think about. So, and that's also big because now Reigns and Rollins fought in the main event of Raw to determine who was going to be the number 1 contender for Ambrose. They went to a double countout after Roman speared Seth over the Spanish announce table. They couldn't get to the ring to answer the 10 count, so the match was called off with no winner. Shane came out to restart the match. Ambrose said, "I don't care. I will face him. I will face him. I'll face them both. I don't care." And then so Shane said, "All right, triple threat match at Battleground in the main event," which I think is this is the Shield triple threat that everyone wanted. But after some news came out just a little bit ago today, Roman Reigns has been suspended for 30 days following a failed test in the WWE's wellness policy. So, and the news also reports that WWE knew about this failed test before Money in the Bank, so that could have led to Roman. I shouldn't say could have. It probably did lead to Roman losing clean to Rollins, the way he did, and then yesterday's booking being the double count out. It could have acted. I think we've seen Ambrose and Rollins a lot. We've seen Roman and Ambrose a couple times now, so it makes sense for the triple threat. But with Roman being suspended now, he's going to miss the brand split draft on July 19. He just gets back just before the July 24th Battleground, so he should still be able to go in the triple threat, which is, you think, that's probably how WWE planned it. They wanted the suspension to be between the pay-per-views, which is kind of smart. But so it's probably how that ends up. It'll still be Roman, Seth, and Ambrose in the main event, but you have to now build to this match with just Rollins and Ambrose. You won't get Reigns back until it was a couple days before Battleground. So it's interesting to see how WWE is going to book this, missing one of your biggest pieces. But after the suspension, I see Reigns losing at Battleground. They might. Because a lot of people are thinking that Vince is mad that he built Roman up so well, and then Roman all of a sudden, this is how Roman repays him, and Raw wasn't doing good in ratings with Roman being the championship. So some people think they could see more of a punishment beyond, with Reigns being pushed down to the mid card. What he should have done when they broke from the Shield, he got pushed pretty much to the top right away. If you would have booked him in the mid card right away, you probably could have seen a little bit more, a little bit of a growth that should have happened early on in his career instead of what just going on now. So he'll probably push the mid card, might chase the Intercontinental to the U.S. Championship, which could be intriguing. But I don't think you'll see him in the main event when he comes back after Battleground. I don't think you'll see him in the main event. I think it'll be Rollins or Ambrose winning, and then possibly Triple H coming back for SummerSlam to face one of those guys. Could be possible. I think they might do Roman versus Brock at SummerSlam to finish off that feud. Try to anyways. Who knows what's going to happen. Money in the Bank was a decent pay-per-view overall. The undercard was really lacking, but the top 3 matches came out pretty good. Cena, Styles, Reigns, Rollins, and the Money in the Bank ladder match. They delivered enough to make it a good pay-per-view. Didn't watch Raw. I've caught highlights of it. John Laurinaitis came back. They're doing this whole parade, the ex-general managers of Raw and SmackDown out to try to jockey for position. They had they had John Laurinaitis. Last week was Kane. The week before that was Teddy Long. So maybe Vicky Guerrero comes back. Maybe. They have talked about bringing Kurt Angle back, so we might see Kurt Angle get general manager thing going on. I kind of hope that's the case anyways. So yeah, it was just kind of just a good week for WWE besides Reigns getting suspended. So yeah, I'm intrigued at what this means for the brand split, and I don't really know much else to say, so I'm gonna say see ya next time. Yeah. Okay. Bye.